Hey everyone, in this episode of Cinematically Late, we're going to be talking about Bad Boys for Life. Now, this highly anticipated third installment, very much like the third installment of the Bill and Ted franchise, Bill and Ted Face the Music, was very largely in part put into reality because the main stars were pushing for it so heavily. Now, Bad Boys for Life came out in 2020 and I could not believe it, and I actually had to look it up to confirm because I could have sworn this movie came out in 2019, but no, it actually came out last year. Bad Boys for Life, of course, stars and sees the return of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's Miami detective characters, but this time, they're the old guys. That's pretty much the gimmick of this movie, is that these characters are the old versions of who they used to be. There's really no impact, but other than that, for the most part, they're just softer versions of who they used to be, those like hard grizzled cops that would do anything. But then again, it's been 17 years since Bad Boys 2. But it also just happens to be probably one of the most fun things about this movie is that you get to see these characters be the older guys, the more seasoned veterans on the team. Although it's kind of funny and stereotypical to see Martin Lawrence need his glasses to see, or Mike Lowry, Will Smith's character, be that sort of playboy character still, but kind of trying to fit into like the 21st century world and like internet age, things like that. It's kind of funny to see that, but at the same time, it gets a little bit old after a while. It just felt like this movie was different for some reason. It felt like it was missing something. And I think I've identified what that thing is, and it's just the lacking presence of Michael Bay. And Michael Bay directed both previous installments of this franchise, and you can definitely tell it's got all of the Bayisms. And this movie definitely tries to replicate that, but because it's not Michael Bay, it just falls a little bit flat. It misses that tiny bit of identity, that extra Bayism in a lot of the filmmaking and editing, that I think that it just kind of falls flat. It just tries to be another action movie that's just another installment in a franchise. And I think that that was probably one of the most hurtful things about it, because these are characters that essentially I've grown up with. The first film came out in 1995, so I've seen these characters my whole life. I've seen both 1 and 2. Second one came out when I was teenager, preteen, so I've seen these characters in different iterations. And when you see how they are in this movie, it just feels like they're different characters than you've gotten to know in previous versions, probably in large part due to the directing. And with Bay's reputation in the Transformers franchise, that he just got worse and worse with each installment, I can kind of understand maybe why he didn't come back to this. Maybe he just didn't feel like he had anything to add to the characters. He wasn't necessarily a writer or a producer on the previous films, so what could he really add? And I think that one thing that I was severely looking for in this movie was that iconic moment from a Bay movie. For example, in the first Bad Boys from 1995, there's that epic scene of Mike Lowry running slow motion, and he gets there just in time to save Martin Lawrence, even though we didn't know that for like the past 10 minutes. Then in Bad Boys 2, there's the even more iconic scene where they're having like a shootout and there's like a camera rotating, trying to go through the scene. Super epic stuff. But in this one, there is no scene. I waited the entire runtime, but there was never that moment that I felt like I could talk about it after that I watched the movie. I never felt like this was the moment that really got me engaged. It just felt like a falling flat, step-by-step, beat-by-beat action movie that never really had that big moment. Now, I don't think this was a bad movie or even a bad sequel. It's actually kind of fun at times, but there's just certain times where it just feels like it's flat, and like I mentioned before, it feels like just any other action movie. Anybody could have directed this, anybody could have written this. It's just like Grumpy Old Men, but for more action-y stuff, and I think there's a lot of nostalgia built into it. A lot of these movies that are coming out now are built on previously known franchises. They add a third installment, now they're the old guys, things like that that just don't feel like it's very authentic. It just kind of fits the mold of beat for beat action movie, and it's sorely missed some of that originality. But don't get me wrong, it's still definitely a movie worth checking out, especially in these endless days that all feel the same day after day. If you just want a little break and just some sort of fun action movie, Bad Boys for Life definitely worth a watch. But I want to hear from you guys. If you've seen Bad Boys for Life, what did you think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. While you're down there, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, as well as hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos from me. And if you feel like you haven't seen me for a while, or maybe want to see some more content from me, be sure to check out the Animated Apparel Company's YouTube channel. I have several videos over there, all coming out all the time. I have a new one that just recently came out, as well as a new one coming out on Monday, so you should definitely check out that channel as well and subscribe over there. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next one.